was no other acceptable answer. We exited the washroom and walked down the wood-paneled hall of offices toward the main staircase. The Museum of Literature was housed in a Georgian Revival mansion on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. Formerly the residence of Thomas Stewart, a wealthy industrialist who had amassed a fortune in the steel industry, the home had been left to his beloved wife, Mabel. An avid reader and book lover, Mabel Stewart had bequeathed the mansion to a private foundation with specific instructions to create the Museum of Literature, a place where books were to be displayed and preserved like rare paintings for years to come. As we entered the public area on the second floor, I glanced at the life-size painting of Thomas and Mabel that had been rendered in their personal library at the time. They were posed on a divan, seated as he read to her. Their beloved cocker spaniel, Augustus, sat at their feet. The portrait had been done early in their marriage, and the way they looked at each other made me pause. The closest description I could come up with was affectionate devotion. I wanted that. The realization sucker-punched me. I had walked by this portrait for years, and while I'd always admired it, I never experienced the yearning pulsing inside me right now. This was what a relationship was supposed to be. I had never managed to find that, and I certainly didn't feel it for Trey. I turned to look at my parents, waiting by the stairs. My mother chattered in aggravation, and my father reached out to touch her arm in a soothing gesture. She smacked his hand away. "Stop it, Reed. You'll wrinkle my dress," she snapped. Dad's expression didn't change, but there was a deep sadness in his eyes. Clearly, he hadn't found what Thomas and Mabel Stewart shared either. It made me doubt my agreement to this arranged marriage, because let's not kid ourselves, this betrothal was 100% my mother's doing. My father turned away from my mom, a petite version of me, short, curvy, and blonde, with bright blue eyes and a pert nose. She wore a very festive red satin sheath with a Swarovski-encrusted bolero jacket over it. It had a very mother of the bride vibe. Dad blinked, and a broad grin parted his lips when he saw me. "Clarabelle," he said, "you are a vision." "Do not call her by that ridiculous nickname," my mother sighed. We ignored her. The only parts of me that I'd inherited from my father were my square jaw, my height, and to be frank, my unruly eyebrows. Thankfully, I could manage those with professional help. We shared the same intellectual drive and business acumen, attributes my mother thought were unnecessary when, in her opinion, a woman could just marry well. I slid into the gap between them and gave my dad a half hug. "You look quite dashing yourself." Dad was wearing his favorite tuxedo with the black satin lapels that my mother had threatened to burn because he refused to buy a new one. This had been my role in the family for as long as I could remember. Slide between them, smooth the hurt feelings, keep the peace. It's probably why I was so good at managing the museum board. "Thank you, my dear." Dad smiled at me, his eyes twinkling. He held out his arm, and I placed my hand on the crook of his elbow. My mother cleared her throat, and he offered her his other arm. The staircase was made of ornately carved wooden balustrades, and the walls were paneled oak woodwork of the same rich red-brown, also carved in meticulously intricate designs and polished to a high gloss. A large chandelier in the center illuminated our way down the carpeted steps to the main floor of the museum. The party was in full swing in the conservatory at the end of the building, where the gala was being held. My steps slowed as we walked along the parquet floor. I knew what was coming. Trey had warned me, since the proposal he had planned was going to be very public, he'd wanted to be assured that I wasn't going to embarrass him by saying no. He didn't give me many details, except to say a very special messenger was helping him with his proposal. I had no idea what this meant. Was Harry Styles going to make a guest appearance? Trey certainly had the connections to make that sort of thing happen. "Claire!" a woman called from across the lobby. I blinked. It was our former registrar, Molly Graham.